Hi guys, I wanted to hop on and talk to you. Just first, hi, Happy New Year. I hope everybody's having a good start to the beginning of the new year. But I wanted to hop on and talk to you about stress. And I know that last year was a really crazy, stressful year, had lots of highs, lots of lows, lots of silver linings, lots of amazing opportunities and good things that happened. But let's face it, there was a lot of stress in last year. And I think that even just sharing my own personal story that has been really stressful, and sometimes we can get off track with some of the things that are stressing us out that are really starting to take over our life. And those things can manifest themselves in ways of the way we respond to other people, the way that we sleep, the way that we interact throughout the day, the way that we do our job, the way that we don't do our job, the way that just emotionally sound how we are. So when we have those stressors in our life, they really impact us. And as I said, this has just been a really super stressful time. And so thinking back to kind of grounding. So when I feel really kind of at my wit's end and I feel like I'm going to scream because I can't take one more thing, and it happens, I kind of take a step back. When I notice that I'm short, when I notice that my fuse is not what it usually is, or my brain is clouded, or I'm waking up at 3 in the morning and I can't go back to sleep because it's filled full of things, it's filled full of my to-do list, or it's filled full of all the things that I'm mulling over that are still unresolved, right? We have stress because of unresolved things. Really working to try to transform and change that perspective, because the longer we stay in that fight or flight elevated state, as my daughter will say, I feel like a raging lion is chasing me, that is not how we want our body to respond. We don't want to stay in that state. When we are there, that is not going to serve us. That is going to harm us. Every level of our body, it's going to harm. And so grabbing a hold of that and really working on that sympathetic, parasympathetic site, nervous system is really, really important. So I wanted to give you some things, some tools that could really help reground you, really take a step back and reassess and focus and think about how you can really kind of get back to, okay, I can do this. I can get through another day. So that's my first tip. Don't look too far ahead. Don't look at tomorrow. Don't look at a week or a month or a year from now. Yes, planning is wonderful and take time for that. But when you're in the midst of crisis and you're in the midst of stress, living for the moment and living for today is really important, not to put more on your plate than you really need to. So take a step back and just pause. So think about your day, think about where you're at, think about what is absolutely necessity to get done and what isn't a necessity to get done. Those things that are not, release them, let them go. What can you take off of your plate and unload your burden, right? My burden is light. So how can you do that? What can you take off? So stay present, stay focused, stay on today's task. That is number one. Number two, when you find yourself in those situations, take a time out. Go to the bathroom if you have to. That's my place right now. Go to the bathroom, close the door, sit on the floor and breathe. So I love 4-7-8 breathing techniques, or you can do box breathing, and I'll link to some of those down below. But okay, I can calm down. It's really starting to lower and bring you more mindful. It lowers your response. It starts to bring you back more grounded. So come to that breathing step. Okay, so one, what can you take off of your plate? What can you alleviate? Stay present in the moment. Take time. Step outside and go and breathe. Go outside, go in the bathroom, go in the corner, go in your closet, wherever you can find that is removed, because we're all living in small corridors right now. They feel confined because we're all living together, but take a step and kind of think about that. Change your reaction. So as I said, like I notice in my own body, when I get really stressed, I get agitated and my reaction is less than desirable. I like lash out. I am like, I've got too much on my brain. Don't even start asking me for one more thing because I'm completely overwhelmed. So really changing your reaction, and by breathing and doing some of those other things will help my reaction. Taking a pause and like thinking for a second before speaking, and then coming back with a really different response than I would have. So sometimes it's just like, don't say anything, right? Just close your mouth, pause for a minute, and then come back and give a different response. Another thing that is one of my favorites is exercise. So I will, if I can, get outside, go for a walk. It doesn't have to be vigorous. Vigorous is awesome, but you don't have to. Sometimes we set our sights on like, if it's not this, then it doesn't work. It's not true. Going for a 10-minute walk around the block or down the road or down the street is going to be beneficial. You clear your mind, you stay present, you can breathe, you're getting exercise, and it's starting to release and to change that chemical response in us. So get outside. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but you gotta let it out, right? Like crying really feels really good. So if you need to cry, like be okay with it. If you need to scream and you need to, not at somebody, but if you need to like escape and scream in your car, driving down the road and just like vent and get it out, get it out. It is super helpful and beneficial. It also changes that chemistry and it's a huge release in our body. So really it's cleansing. Allow your body to be able to do something like that. Another thing that I like to do is like plan something really nice for yourself. So if you kind of start to notice that you are really stressed and you are overwhelmed and overloaded, what can you do for yourself? What do you love to do? Is it going for a walk? Is it reading a book? Is it calling a friend? Is it what? You fill in the blank, but find something that brings you joy and then try to go and do it. Who doesn't love massage? We can't do a massage right now, right? So find something else. It may not be your first line, but find something else that will allow you to be able to do something to nurture, to care for yourself, to fill your cup back up. This last weekend, I went to a women's retreat and it was amazing. Just being amongst other women and in that present moment, it filled my cup up. It's super powerful. So what can you do to fill your cup up? Form new habits. So like, what is a habit that you can come up with that will help alleviate stress? Maybe you're not exercising right now and you normally do. Maybe you want to cook or you want to be creative. You want to draw. Maybe you want to learn some kind of a sport or activity. What can you do that is a good stress relief, right? Maybe you want to just, learn a new skill, but take that time to be able to create a new healthy habit and take steps towards it, right? And then write it down, journal. Oh, wow. Journaling is amazing. I don't know about you, but like journaling is really therapeutic. And if you haven't tried it, I invite you to try it. Get a piece of paper, get a book, make your own, go to the dollar store. I mean, there's millions of ways you can do it, but journal, write it down, figure out like just that therapeutic level, and maybe it'll help you put your thoughts into place. Maybe it'll help direct your path. Maybe it'll help you in a way that it wouldn't have normally. So write it down. Some other things I like to do is like staying hydrated. It sounds super simple, but staying hydrated really helps support our body. Dehydration, a lot of things come from being dehydrated, but just like filling up, staying really hydrated, trying to stay healthy. You know the difference when you really are focusing on being healthy, you're exercising, you're eating good, and you're like living in your, like you got your good juju going. There's something different about that than when you're living in the other place and you're stressed and you're frustrated and you're angry and you can't sleep and you're like, your juju is completely gone, it's plummeted. That's different, right? Like that doesn't fill us up at the same way. So find it. And then my last tip is just really know when those things are happening. So like notice that decline in your body. Notice those warning signals that are happening in yourself. And instead of waiting for the explosion, waiting for the cup to completely run over, figure out a way to be able to empower change, right? Transform change. And these are a lot of things. You don't have to do all of them, right? Find one. Find one. When we're in those stressful situations, sometimes we just need one thing to hold on to. We don't need more than one. More than one can be too overwhelming. I tell my clients, like, take small steps. You don't have to have a lot of big things, a lot of big goals, a lot of big changes, because sometimes that can feel really way more daunting. So choose one thing that serves you, that feels good, that feels right, and maybe focus on that for a little while. See if that one thing can help start to melt away the stress that you are experiencing. And so I wish you a just less stress-free, time. I think of stress as, we've talked about this before, like one of the major pillars. It's really important to work on all those pillars of health to bring them all into balance. You can't just work on one and think that everything is going to be perfect. Like, we really need every single one of them is really equally as important to our overall ability to thrive and to feel really vital and awesome. And like, I call it just living my best life and where I thrive. So where do you thrive? How can you live your best life and have your cup full and overflowing and have an abundance? And so that's what I wish for you, is an abundance. And I'd love to hear from you. Tell me where you are. Tell me, what your struggles are that you are maybe going through right now, and share them with me. I'd love to hear. And I'd love for you to, join my Facebook group, where it's a collective community where women were supporting each other and having these hard conversations, and just like building a tribe of like-minded, supportive group. So wishing you all the best.